Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
It'll record. Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a big thing. Is I just don't want him to. Well, whatever. I don't really care.
I think it should be fine.
Should be all right.
We just all got to make sure to mute our mics whenever someone is doing their.
Yeah, that's the other big thing. Can you hear me well enough right now?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic if you're gonna start to.
I guess. All right. I'll go. I guess I'll start.
Okay.
Let me just grab my composer real quick. All right. Think of where I'm starting at. All right. So, what? Okay, we're here today. I'm going to give you a little informative speech on how to do a CPR, possibly save a life. I've been a career firefighter paramedic for 20 years, and in that line of work, I have been called a hero, a miracle worker, many things, Superman. But I don't consider myself a hero or a Superman. I'm just an ordinary man with an extraordinary skill set. You too can have that extraordinary skill set. I think that everyone should know how to do CPR. So imagine you are at the mall with a friend or at a restaurant with a family, and somebody goes down. Crowd gasps, and somebody needs to act. So you need to do CPR. Well, what is CPR? CPR is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Basically, when the heart stops, we can keep the heart going until paramedics or EMS arrives. So in that time frame, you are the one that has to do those compressions. So I'm going to show you. All right. So person goes down. All right. You walk over to them. First thing you need to do is make sure that they are responsive or they're unresponsive, that they're not going to respond when you go to touch them. Because if they respond, there's no need. So you're going to give a tap. Are you all right? Are you okay? If they don't respond, next, you will use your cheek and you will get as close to their face as possible, and you will look, listen, and feel for 5 to 10 seconds. Feeling for air on your cheek, listening for breath, and looking for possible chest rise with lungs going in and out. If none of those exist, next, you will take 2 fingers, put them on the notch of the throat, slide it down into the groove, and possibly feel for a pulse. You will do that for 5 to 10 seconds. If you don't feel a pulse, you will begin chest compressions. But wait, first, you must get somebody to alert 911 and start the 911 system. So you will pick somebody out of the crowd and you will be forceful to them. You call 911 and get an AED. What is an AED? We'll get to that part. Now, person's down. They're waiting for you to do CPR. You'll find the center of the chest. You'll place one hand on it, right here on the center of the chest. Take the other hand, place it on top. You will do as many compressions as you can in 2 minutes, in a 2-minute cycle. That could be up to 100 to 120 beats. You want to go in 2 inches of depth. You want to allow the chest to fully recoil before you give the next chest compression. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so forth and so on, up to 100 to 120. Now, in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, we also give breaths. However, I don't recommend that in the public. If you're just giving, you can do CPR for up to 6 minutes while there's oxygen still in the body. You do not have to give breaths. There are only 3 people in this world that I will give mouth-to-mouth to. That is my wife and my 2 daughters. So you pick those people that are special to you that you might do mouth-to-mouth to. But out in the mall or out at lunch or dinner, that person's probably not going to get mouth-to-mouth from me and probably shouldn't get from you. All right? When I bring out my AED, it will recommend giving breaths. Again, completely up to you. I don't recommend it. So you've begun your CPR. You're doing it. The person that you pointed out to call 911 and get the AED, hopefully in those 2 minutes, they have returned. Okay? with the AED. The AED, we see them in airports, restaurants, malls, all over the place. There are those boxes hanging on the wall that say AED on them. So we just simply open it up. There's many different versions out there. This is the version I have. It's a trainer version. The first thing you simply do is turn it on, and it prompts you.
Remove clothing from the patient's chest. Open packet and apply pads onto patient's bare skin.
These are your pads. Early defibrillation is key.
As shown in the picture. Press pads firmly on skin.
Patient.
Do not touch the patient. Analyzing heart rhythm.
That one and that one.
Do not touch the patient. Analyzing heart rhythm.
Don't touch the patient while it's doing it. It's analyzing.
Do not touch the patient. Press the flashing shock button.
There's a button that's will flash and tell you to shock. You push that button.
Shock delivered.
It delivers a shock.
Begin CPR.
Begin CPR. Counts right for you.
10. 20. 30. Give 2 breaths.
2 breaths. I wouldn't recommend those 2 breaths. Again, that's just me. However, if you have a device that can do it, you can give those 2 breaths. Okay? So that is how, when, and what CPR is. There are over 20 million people in Florida alone. Okay? There are over 700,000 people that will have heart symptoms, heart attack-like symptoms. Of those 700,000 people, 60% of 100,000 will go into cardiac arrest. Do you want to be a hero? Do you want to make a difference? Call your AHA and become a card-carrying member. Thank you.
That was good.
That was really well done.
Hopefully it was a lot of time. It wasn't over, under. I think it was probably pretty right on.
Yeah, I think we were a bit on time.
Thanks for setting the bar high.
What's that?
Thanks for setting the bar high.
We've done that training before, so I'm sure
Couple times. Yeah. You have?
I have, yeah.
You haven't. What are you saying? I've done that a couple of times.
yeah, you've trained people, like, talk through that
I've
whole
been
thing
doing it for
before,
years and
so,
years. That's why I picked a subject that I would be good at.
yeah, good idea. Does anyone else want to go next?
I don't want to go.
Who wants to follow up that? That's
No, you guys are going to be fine. You're going to do great.
I haven't rehearsed at all. That's the problem. I've just barely looked at, the outline.
So go for it. Give it your best.
Okay, I'll go next, I guess.
All right, cool.
I think that's how do we mute it again? I forget. Is that it?
You should hover over your picture, and there should be like a little down arrow. That's how it was from me, or even up here. You move your
Oh yeah, that was it.
mouse.
That was it.
It's right there. Okay. So many dogs are often hurt because of other dogs and their aggressive behavior. For those of you who don't know, I work at a doggy daycare and boarding, and there we have to screen and pre-check dogs who come there just to make sure that they're not aggressive towards other dogs. We're trained to look for these traits, and I'm hoping by the end of my speech, you guys will also know these traits to look for in dogs. Some dogs show their aggressive behavior by barking at other dogs, by tumbling other dogs, and by stoic behavior towards other dogs. When dogs bark at other dogs, it doesn't always mean aggressive behavior. But when it's coupled with their tail being down and no play bow, which is when, that yoga pose with the top down and bottom up, that usually means it's aggressive behavior. Especially if that's the first thing that a dog does when he sees another dog. That's something we don't like to see, because it usually means this dog does not get along with other dogs. Now, dog behavior, aggressive dog behavior doesn't always show up like that. It could be something that happens while the dogs are interacting, like tumbling, for example. Tumbling is when two dogs are playing, and dog A, which is the aggressive dog, will not let dog B, the non-aggressive dog, up. So he will push him around, and not let him play and get up with him. Usually this is because he wants to show over-dominant behavior, but this behavior can quickly turn into more aggressive and dangerous behavior between the two dogs. This is especially dangerous if dog B also wants to be a little more dominant or does not like being pushed around. This can be very, very dangerous for not only those two dogs, but any other dogs within that area that they're playing in. This type of interaction needs to be closely monitored, as well as when dogs are stoic towards other dogs. When dogs are stoic, it's the same as when dogs are barking at other dogs. So in order for it to be aggressive, their tail has to be down and no play bow is shown. So this is something that can easily turn into aggression. This is why you have to be very careful when introducing other dogs. This actually happened the other day. We were introducing two dogs, dog A, the aggressive one, which was new to our facility, and dog B, one we already had. When we were introducing them, the first thing that dog A did, stoic behavior when he first noticed dog B enter the room. This doesn't always mean aggression, but with how he was acting and everything was not a good sign. When they first started interacting, it was fine. But then once dog B went around, and you know how dogs do, smelled his butt and everything, freaked out and started trying to nip at him. And obviously this can happen, even after the first initial interaction, because you don't understand how they're interacting. So that's also something to closely monitor. Now, in order to completely see how everything, how the dogs interact, usually we have to take them away from the owner, because that can also be another way that the dog can become aggressive, because they're very territorial. Like, that is my owner. I don't want you anywhere near my owner. So we usually have to take the dogs away from the owner and have them interact by themselves. So in order to wrap this all up, dogs can show aggressive behavior in a lot of different ways, and usually don't always mean that they're aggressive, but they're very important, and you have to closely monitor and make sure that you're watching how the dogs interact. When a dog is barking at another dog, when they're tumbling other dogs, and when they're being stoic towards other dogs.
Good job.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good.
Okay.
Who's next?
I can go next. Okay.
All right. I'll be talking about the Air France Flight 447, one of the biggest air disasters of all time, where hundreds of people lost their life and took years to investigate. In May 2011, Will Heyland of the New York Times commented that the crash was easy to bend into myth because no other passenger jet in modern history had disappeared so completely, without a mayday call or a witness or even a trace on radar. Air France 447 was a flight from Rio, Brazil to Paris, France, which crashed on June 2009. The aircraft was an Airbus A330. It had a scheduled arrival at Paris at 11:03 the next day, after an estimated flight time of 10:34. The last voice contact with the aircraft was 3 hours and 6 minutes after the departure. The pilot warned the cabin crew that they were about to enter an area of turbulence. 2 minutes after the aircraft icing condition ice crystal started to accumulate in the pitot tubes. These tubes are devices that provide critical information about how fast the aircraft is moving through the air. The aircraft's stall warning sounded briefly twice. In response to the stall, first officer took over control and pushed his control stick forward to lower the nose and recover from the stall. However, the captain was still pulling his control stick back, lifting the nose up. The aircraft crashed into the ocean at a speed of 175 miles per hour. The Airbus broke up on impact. All 228 passengers and crew on board were killed. After attempts to contact Flight 447 were unsuccessful and a search for the missing Airbus, by June 16, 2009, a total of 50 bodies had been recovered from a wide area of the ocean. This crash was the result of two main causes: the pitot tubes blocked by ice, and as a result, the unknown speed of the aircraft, aggravated by turbulence. The pitot tubes on the Air France fleet were replaced by another model that was water resistant. No other accident related to pitot tubes defects happened after this disaster. And that's it.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now who's next? Rock, paper, scissors.
All right. I guess I'll go. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Going, Zach?
Yeah, I'm going. Okay. Okay. So, did you know that by the year 2030, gas emissions from vehicles will decrease by nearly 75%, and cars could become obsolete by the year 2100? 2018 and the future to come can give rise to a new sort of transportation known as connected transportation, which is when other transportations besides cars know the movement and know the different types of movements that cars can produce, and from that can connect together to create faster times and faster connectivity. So by the end of my speech, I hope that everyone will be able to understand the future of public transportation and private transportation in the future, in the world to come. So the way that transportation has the ability to change in the coming years could give rise to newer modes of transportation that humans have yet to witness. So we're going to see the use of advanced transportation in today's world, and then we're going to see how popular media of the past was able to depict how transportation could be used today, before finally we're going to see how advanced transportation can be used in the future and how companies have taken a step forward in producing such. So first, we're going to see how advanced transportation has produced itself today. So the company Tesla has become one of the big leaders in new transportation, especially in self-driving, when in 2016, they released their new auto park feature in their Tesla cars, basically self-parallel parking for their customers in their vehicles, which in turn had a 97% approval rating from the year 2016 to the year 2018. However, Tesla has been working on a fully automated vehicle, self-driving, since 2014. But there have been many accidents and incidents that have set Tesla back in their track. So a car crash in 2017 in Arizona lost the lives of 2 passengers while they were using Tesla's autopilot mode. So because of this, Tesla has been able to make tweaks and modifications to their system in order to make sure that accidents do not happen again. So next, we're going to look at how past has been able to depict the future of technology in a far different way than what was actually shown in today's society. So TV shows from the 60s, such as the Jetsons, were able to depict flying cars and super speeds and people getting to where they needed to be and in such a breeze. But today we see anything but that. And other media has even shown that through the Apollo 11 mission of 1969, which was the first manned flight to the moon, it gave light to new modern transportation and showed the public that we could be seeing flying cars by the year 2000. However, a study concluded that smartphones are actually smarter than the computers that were used in the Apollo mission. So the predictions made by these events gave society the wrong information into the future and made the logical fallacy that today we could be having flying cars and cars could be obsolete. However, cars are our main method of transportation in 2018. So third, we're going to look at how the future holds for us such a promising look into transportation through connecting everything as one. So the company Cisco has sought out the idea to change the way technology holds itself by connecting it all to one, known as the concept of Internet of Everything. So Cisco predicted in 2020 that they could take 8 different modes of transportation, i.e. a boat, a car, and a train, and connect them to one so that they can all connect under one central power system. So although Cisco sees this product in every city in America by the year 2200, it's highly unlikely that anything could get off the ground from this because the cost of production in, let's just say, the San Francisco Bay Area in California would actually be close to $3 billion in order to make the modifications to the trains, cars, and boats that are in that area already and connect them as one. So the chances of having an IOE in every city by 2200 are mostly unlikely, but it's a pretty sought after trek that Cisco has produced. So to conclude, through the connectivity and automatic systems that are changing the way we commute and communicate with the world, we could possibly see connected transportation as something of high significance. So we discussed the transportation of the present, depicted of it in the past, and saw how the future of transportation changes in society. So most of us just see transportation as something small, but in the future, we could be seeing this as one connected society.
Well done. Nice job, Zach.
Thank you.
That was really interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
All right. I'm ready whenever. Okay. 1/3 of cars ranging from 3 to 10 years old will break down within a single year. Can you guys see me up there, like in the big screen? Okay, so I need to know. According to new research done by Warranty Direct, would you like your car to be one of those cars? Would you like to spend hundreds of dollars in order to fix them? What if you buy a bad car and you don't even know it? Today, I will tell you what things to look at when buying a used car to avoid making a bad purchase. I currently own a dealer's license and I have sold and bought many cars and made a significant profit in doing so. There are many things to look at when buying a car. You must check the interior, you must check the exterior, and you must test it mechanically in order to spot any imperfections that could affect the car's price or the car itself. The first thing to look at is the exterior. First, obviously, you got to start by walking around the car and check for any dents, scratches, or damage. Also, check the body lines. The body lines of the car, like the gaps on the doors, the hood, the trunk. If the gaps are not alike on the doors, both sides of the hood or both sides of the trunk, the car has potentially been in an accident before, and it's something you want to avoid. There's actually a website that can help you with that. The website is called Carfax. I don't know if you know about it. All you need to do is type in the VIN number, and it will give you a pretty good amount of info on the car past, such as past accidents, report service history, and stuff like that. Also, one more thing you need to do is check the tires. If the tires are in bad condition, you can ask the seller to reduce the price. You also want to check for rust under the car or in the body panels. If there is any rust, you want to avoid the car because Rust can eat a car pretty quickly, and more here in Florida. The second thing you want to look at is the interior. You want to check the upholstery, dash, the overall condition of the interior. After checking the interior, check that everything works, windshield wipers, AC, heater, and everything else. If something does not work, you can ask the seller to reduce the price again. And after checking the interior, making sure everything works, you want to open the hood and check for any water or engine leaks, any oil engine leaks, and check the fluids. Check that all the fluids are on the right level. If they're not, the car has probably not been taken care of in the proper way, and it could lead to future mechanical problems. Last step to do is test drive the car. First, you want to turn on the car, and then you want to put in the park position, and then you want to listen to the engine. If the engine makes any weird noises, such as knocks, engine knocks can mean that the engine is dying and it's not going to last very long, and that is something you want to avoid. If the car sounds decent and it does not make any excessively weird noises, then you can go ahead and test drive the car and put it through many stress tests, such as turning, listen for any squeaks when turning. If the steering wheel shakes a lot, that means it has suspension problems most of the time. Also, the brakes, if they make any noise, they will probably need to be replaced soon. And if it's a manual car, check that it goes into all gears. If it's an auto car, check that it goes into park, reverse, neutral, and any additional gears. Now that you know what things to look at in the interior, the exterior, and what to listen for and what to look for when test driving it, you can make a decision based on that if you want to make an offer or not. If you do end up buying the car and you follow those guidelines, you can be pretty confident that you bought a good car and it will be reliable with minimal and essential service. If you want to resell it, you can go ahead and do that, and you can probably make a decent profit if you got a good price on the car. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.